All right, welcome back to the channel. It has been a long time since I last recorded. Not really a long time. It's only been 2 weeks. But I normally do not record or take breaks like that from recording. But um, there's usually a lot that goes on. There's a lot that went on in these past 2 weeks. Actually, a whole month actually. But in all seriousness, uh, that is where the hiatus has come from. Some people have asked like, "Oh, why aren't you recording anymore? Are you giving up?" And blah blah blah. No, the YouTube channel will continue. It will continue. We will record. Um, I got a boatload of new topics that I want to roll out for you guys in the month of April. I wasn't just slacking for 2 weeks. I mean, I was playing a lot of Elder Scrolls Oblivion, obviously, but I mean, I was playing a lot of. I wasn't even playing video games. I was playing like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Because I want to make a video on that about like I want to make a video on all the Dragon Ball games and like the evolution of Dragon Ball games in general. Like from where they were, from like the 90s. I mean, I guess they existed even before then, but you get the picture. Like Dragon Ball games started becoming like super popular back in the 90s, and then I would say like early 2000s as well. And then you got like the 2010s games, and now going forward kind of deal. Anyway, that's not the topic of the video. The topic of the video today is nothing to do with Dragon Ball. I wish it was Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is a very more fun topic, but it's a topic that I wanted to be doing a lot of research on. Not only because it kind of relates to myself, kind of. I mean, not really, but like my early childhood, I would say. I mean, yeah, even until today's time. But I mean, like, I don't care anymore because I'm just not retarded, and you'll see what I mean. And once we get into the topic, so today we're going to talk about, and I'll get this, and yeah, if you're going to call me racist or whatever in the comments, oh, shut up, nigga, as Dave Chappelle would say. But here's the all reality. Um, we're gonna talk about today about what is it, what does it mean to like act your race. It's a topic that I really want to talk about because I know it seems like it doesn't really like apply in the current day. It seems like, oh, everybody's trying to like disable those stereotypes, but that couldn't be further more from the truth, in my honest opinion. And I don't care what you liberals say. Fuck you guys. You guys are just as retarded as the conservatives on this issue, because I've had plenty of friends that are left leaning that will, for instance, here's a good example about, quote unquote acting your race. I've had plenty of people that are left leaning come up to me and ask like, "Oh, you don't act black," if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, or you don't act white, or you know what I mean? Like, you don't act a certain way that fits the stereotype of whatever race you belong to. And, I don't really get that comment too much anymore. And I think it's just because even when people say it, I just don't pay it any mind because I don't really care what you think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I'm just not. I already lose interest in a conversation if that's like what you're gonna say, because I know you're pretty retarded. If you think race is real in general, you're kind of retarded. But that's just me. That's just me. I shouldn't say that makes someone retarded. That's just a personal belief. But to me, because race cannot be proven by science necessarily, it can only be proven by social stigmas, if you really notice, and words. It can't actually be proven to exist in the universe without our own logic, if that makes sense. And race honestly just is used for like tokenism and dividing people. And honestly, I feel like when human beings came up with the idea of, instead of just calling ourselves the human race, no, we got to call ourselves the human race. But then there's all these different subcategories of the human race, and when people did that, I feel like back in the old days, whenever race was an actual thing, we don't even know like who the fuck was the person. Like, why don't we know who are the people who invented this stuff? When it comes down to money and all that stuff, like, why don't we know the people who invented this stuff? Shouldn't we know? Like, shouldn't that be a documented thing? Like, money is so important in the current day that like the fact that we don't know exactly where it like got started, isn't that kind of funny? But yet we let it rule the current day. It rules the current day, but we don't even really know like when it got started. But like religions and all that kind of stuff. Oh, we know exactly when that happened, and no, but we don't. The most important questions that we should be fucking asking ourselves, we don't really know anything. So, and that's why they're the most important questions, is because they can't just be solved by simply plugging in a fucking simple scientific theory and saying, "Oh, there, mystery solved." Like, can't work like that. So, um, you have a lot of people in the current day. I feel like that while they wouldn't say, they will say they're not racist and da da da. And it's not about being racist. You can think these stereotypes and not be racist. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but trust me, you can. I've seen, and here's the vice versa. I've seen plenty of black people who will call out other black people for quote unquote acting white. But, the common consensus will tell you, oh, but black people aren't racist. But that's honestly, if you're a black person and you say that to a fellow black person, you're probably 10 times more racist than you're right up there with the slave owner, essentially, because in my eyes, because you want to know why, you are literally saying that if you don't act a certain way, then you are not, like, you almost are below a certain, you know what I mean? You're below the threshold of somebody else, and that is a dangerous way of thinking, because to me it keeps the black community, in my opinion, down, because you're saying that, like, black people can't be in high status, they can't be talking articulate, they can't, you know what I mean, all those typical things that and that's why I'm not diving too deep into what the examples, because honestly, if you're smart enough to come onto this YouTube channel, then you're smart enough to know exactly the sayings that people will identify with being white. If you're smart, or you don't talk in slang all the time, and I don't know, you just have some sort of, and I don't know why being smart is a thing. Like, there's so many different levels of intelligence that I don't really understand how smart can be defined by any race, but I guess I don't know. I mean, I really don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why people have this preconceived notion of, like, acting a race. Like, oh, if you're Asian, you got to be smart, and if you're not smart, then like, what does that mean? Like, what does this mean? And you might not think, like, oh, you shouldn't take it too seriously, but no, you really have to understand that, like, even if you don't take it seriously, even if these are just harmless comments that people just have in their heads coming out loud, you have to understand that in itself is just enforcing all the bad ideas. That is why we need to. You really just need to. If you have that opinion, in my opinion, you're not helping anything. And if you're gonna be one of those people that goes then and complains about racism, then honestly, you can just shut the fuck up, because you're just as racist as everybody else. If literally, the definition of almost being racist is literally grouping people. Is honestly, it falls in there with the definition, is grouping people up by stereotypes and saying this is what they have to be. Like, that is almost as racist as it gets. Like, that is pretty much as racist as it gets. Like, it's you might as well just go around and call everybody by by racial slurs, unique to their race. I mean, seriously, that you're just one step below that at that point. And again, I think it also just encourages, and this is what it does to, and also in my eyes, it makes this us versus them mentality, this tribalism that's just been going on in humanity ever since humanity's learned to do agriculture, ever since humanity's learned to even just fend for our goddamn selves. Tribalism has been a thing that, and you might not think, well, what do you mean tribalism? We're not in that. You don't even understand that. Then you don't understand. You know what I mean? Tribalism is still in the current society, and it's huge, actually. For instance, left and right. Again, like, the left and the right remind me of this issue so much, because the left and the right always create this us versus them mentality, when it's like they actually sit there and argue the same fucking thing, right? They sit there and argue the same thing, almost the same talking points, and then they will sit there and say, well, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. While the elite just sit back and watch the show, and the elite like to rile everybody up, like to make you think, oh, it's the left, it's the right, it's somebody else. It could never be you looking in the mirror and sometimes saying, well, maybe I'm the one who's fucked up here. It could never be. Is that something that we notice? It's never really. We're never told to look in the mirror and sometimes say, well, maybe we're all fucking up. Maybe everybody's fucking up. Maybe everybody sucks. We're never told that, are we? We're always told that it's somebody else's fault. And da, 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 da. But, that's why I've adopted that mentality is I can't sit here and tell anybody this is their fault and blah, 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 if, first of all, I'm not even lifting a finger to do a goddamn thing about it. Maybe I suck too. Maybe it's my fault. It is my fault. If I'm not doing a damn thing about it, then it is my fault too. I can't, it's like sitting there when someone's getting bullied and being the bystander. You can sit there and say it's the bully, but I mean, at the end of the day, what are you doing? You can't really put yourself in a morally better high ground than that person, can you? Because you're not doing anything. Well, I'm not committing the bad act. Are you stopping the bad act? Are you even speaking out against the bad act? I mean, and this is what I'm saying, man. It's like, honestly, I hate the shit. But this is where the left pisses me off because the left, and this is why I can never be on the left or the right or anything. You guys know this. You guys watch my channel. You guys know this enough where I can never really be on the left or the right and I can never be anywhere in the political spectrum because I'm not a type of person that's going to go all in for something and then all in for nothing. Like that's a stupid way of thinking. We need balance is the key to everything. Everything can be solved with just balancing a lot of shit. If you really look at how life works, work-life balance, that's, everything. Balance, you need balance. Like, balance is the key. Why do you think Thanos preached about this shit so much? That shit ain't no joke. No, I'm just kidding. But, there's such a thing called going overboard with being balanced. But I know, that's actually a conundrum in itself, going overboard with being balanced. How does that even make any sense? But you have to really sit here and ask yourself if you're a left-leaning person, and then you're going to sit there and tell, because I have a lot of friends, and I don't have a lot of friends. I actually shouldn't say that. I have enough friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. That's how I'll put it. I have friends, but I don't know. No, not all these people. No. I like to limit my circle to 5 because I can actually get to individually know all my friends that way. Whereas if I'm going to have like 1 billion people in my life, I'm not going to know them at all. How can you know 1 billion people? You just can't. You can't. Like, you just can't. Like, when you have so many people in your life, you can't understand everybody. And that's where I'm just like, I don't want to hang around people who I actually don't understand necessarily in any moral level or anything. Like, anything. I don't really understand them. We're just hanging out, but I really don't actually understand them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have much of a connection. But that's the thing is I strive for connection. I don't like fake connections. So I guess that's why I limit myself to certain lower numbers, because I've realized that you can't have a high number of connections and have actual connections. You can only have, you really can, I mean, and unless you're, and this is why I say you can only do this, because unless you're, a bum who has no job and doesn't do anything, you have other things going to take up your time. So if you can't just spend time with all these different people, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. Not if you want to really have an everlasting bond. It just doesn't work. But that's that. But I have a lot of people that I've just met in general in life, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, I'm not racist, or I'm and da 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 da, and again, this is why I really want to hammer this in, because I know many people are going to come in this comment section and just be like, well, that's just something that old people do, or no, this is something that everybody, besides myself, I've never once went up to somebody else and said this. I'm the only person I've ever heard not even mention this in my entire life. I've always been the one who's getting called it, because I'm a black guy, I speak articulate, I'm not as I guess I don't really care about like gangs shit, I guess, and I guess I have a pretty normal name, quote unquote, because I guess in order to be black, you got to have a name like Lavelle, Travell, something like that. You can't have a normal name, I guess you can't have a name that falls outside the stereotype. You got to have like the actual name, and again, it's just like, you people, you want racism to go away? Well, how can it go away if you people, and this is what I'm saying, man, because I want to hammer this point in, this is an everything issue, and it's not just the people on the right, it's not just people on the left. There are plenty of people who do this, but this is why I say I hate the left, because they're a bunch of fake woke bums, canceling everyone. We say one thing y'all don't like, our fucking career's done. You know, like I got more. It's like I hate to say it, but I got more in common with Trump supporters and Reaganists than fake woke bums canceling everyone. We say one thing, y'all don't like, our fucking career's done. Like, like Chris Webby said. But it's like, and I don't say that, and don't ever say that as a, like, don't ever come in the comment section and be like, did you just say you're for the right? Hell fucking no. Those people are so fucking crazy and messed up and retarded at this point that I would be very shocked. It would take a meteor coming out of the fucking sky and saying that you have to choose the right or you're going to die. Then I would probably do it. It's the only way. It's the only way. Like, it would have to be the most extreme circumstance of all time. Like, I don't know, like some sort of crazy apocalyptic event is happening, and the only way to save it is if we do the right thing, or something like that. Then otherwise, hell no. Like, they're just as crazy as the Democrats. But I think what makes me hate this issue so much is because people will tell you that this doesn't happen, like that these aren't being enforced in society. But you look around you and it's like Joe Biden telling people, if you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. And I'm not saying that, like, is he? I get what he's trying to say. Like, he's trying to say that, if most black people vote Democrat, but then to tell someone that they're not black if they don't, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, you don't understand. Like, you don't even understand probably most of the black people who are going to vote for you. You get old ass fucking dummy. You, in my honest opinion, when it comes down to that, it's not something that you should ever be mad over. Because again, race doesn't exist. In my head, race is made up to control us and do all this shit. Because if you notice, it just makes everybody fight. It makes people feel like they're fucking special, and that's another thing. I think that in my head is what made a lot of humans in the past, whenever race was created, whenever people started first throwing out the words, I'm a European, I'm a German, I'm an African American, I'm something, I'm special, I'm special. That's what it is. Like, that's to me, that's where it came from. Is, well, because I got a different skin color than that guy over there, that makes me special. So I'm gonna call myself African American. I don't know why I did that accent, but you know what I mean. Like, I guess that's just my retarded person accent. I shouldn't say that, but that's just honestly like my stupid person accent. Like, that's just how I hear most stupid people. And I know it's kind of weird because it's like a country hillbilly accent, but like, to me, that's just how I hear when stupid people start saying stupid things. Just wah 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 wah, like, and it's. I can't, but it's all about being special. If you've noticed with race, it's all about saying, "Oh, I'm proud to be this," and blah 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 blah. And it's like, first of all, in my eyes, you shouldn't be proud to be a race or a citizen of a country or anything, because you can't control that. You could have been born a fucking dog for all you know. You might not even have. You can't control that. You can be, what do you call that? Happy. You can be happy about it in my eyes, but in my eyes, and this is how I believe it, and you can believe it a totally different way. I really don't care. But you're just not going to get me to budge. I will never budge on race, because in my honest eyes, race is just so stupid in general. But I do hate how this fucking fake society we got going on is going to sit there and try to promote, like, we're all getting better. We're not trying to be like that. But yet we constantly reinforce these stereotypes. And you see these in movies. When is the token black guy ever not allowed to be either? I mean, and you're starting to see this a little more with, like, typical, like, they'll show you that there's that the token black guy now finally has some. And I call it token because, let's just be honest, for some odd reason, every time there's a black guy or a gay character or something, everybody's got to shout it out to the rooftops. When it's just like, all right, if it's normal, then why are we, like, saying, "Wow, we're so glad it's there"? And like, if you want to normalize it, then why do you keep tokenizing it every time it shows up? You got to just sometimes sit. When I watch a TV show nowadays and I see a gay character, I'm not like. And this is why anti-SJWs piss me off, because anti-SJWs would be like, "Wow, oh, they just did it to please the gays, and it's like, okay, what's so wrong with that? Why do you even react to it? Like, I don't react to it. I just go like, "Oh, that's just a gay couple on the screen." Okay, Continue. Like I don't sit there and go like, I am so proud of this creator for, you know what I mean? Like who gives a shit? Like if it's normal to me, so I don't say anything about either of it. I'm not on the left side of it where it's like tokenism, and I'm not on the right side where it's anti-tokenism. I just genuinely don't see the need to be either or, because what's the point? If it's normal to me, I'm not going to have any anti-reaction or super positive reinforced I'm glad the world is the way it is reaction. Like it, I don't know. That's just me on that matter. But again, but what we, before right now, I would say this is probably the earliest I've ever seen it, where it's common for finally the token black guy to not just be a typical gangster dude who's throwing slang out and da 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 and big and buff. Now it's like he might be a bit nerdy. He could just be a normal person like everybody else on the goddamn planet. He could be a banker. He could be a politician. He could be the leader. Like the token black guy isn't just this typical street nigga, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's just the only way I could put it. Like the token black guy is finally allowed to be somebody else other than just the typical, however, I guess that's just how black people are seen, And again, I hate to come off as like so negative in this video, but it's something that I just notice, and I hear, it's something that is said. It was said to me a lot, as a kid, like, oh, you don't act like the other black people. But, and you see, with that, I feel like it also comes with like, how should I put it? I don't hate white people in general. I really don't. I don't hate any type of people, and I don't even sit there and prop up any type of people either, if that makes sense. Like, I don't hate different races, and I don't prop up other races. I don't prop up even my own blackness, because to me, I'm just black. Like, being black is not something I'm trying to be. It's something I am. Look that up. Fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Look that up. One of the best speeches I ever heard in my life. Being black is not something I'm trying to be. It's something I am. So I got to try. And then, you got the white kid. But the other thing, you got the white kids who want to try to act typical, quote unquote black. But why do you, in my eyes, and when I've talked about this in other videos, you might even notice I've never once said those white kids are acting black. I've always just said those white kids are acting like they're gangster. I've never once said they're acting black, because to me, the acting gangster is not specifically to being black. Hell, a gang is almost anything. A gang can be considered the government, the police, any type of fucking large coalition of people uniting under some sort of cause is technically a gang. And if they can order you around and do whatever the fuck they want with almost no consequences, that is the definition pretty much of a gang. It's not just these people who are running around robbing shit. That's what the mainstream definition is. But you look up what an actual gang is, technically the police are a gang, the government's a gang. Any sort of large force outside of a military is pretty much a gang. But that's why you call legal gangs. Anyway, we don't need to go into that. That's too much for most mainstream people to handle. But I probably shattered a mainstream person's brain right now. They probably are just like, what? No, you're wrong. I'm going to type in the comment section for hours about how you're wrong and waste, all my hours away on trying to prove something that no one really actually cares about, because, let's just be honest. Like, I'm telling you, man, the mainstream is the reason why half these things even exist still today, because in the mainstream eyes, being black is about, being threatening and cool and tough and gangster and talking in slang. Like, for instance, like, and you gotta have like an accent, like, you gotta talk like this, man, and it's like, no, dude, not everybody is like that. And if everybody was like that, this would be a very fucking terrible fucking world. I promise you that, because we'd all just, I would shoot myself. All right. If every single person I've ever once encountered started talking like that, I would probably shoot myself. I probably would, because I'd be like, I can't even, like, I don't understand why everybody's copying each other. Obviously, everybody must have taken the pill. Something happened. I don't know. The sci-fi reality shit's coming into reality. They got us chipped or something. Everybody's acting the same. It's time to go out before I become one of them. Like, I don't know. But But no, it's like, or the token black guy has to live in a rundown neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, I get that there are black people like that. And I mainly say this about black people because it's so reinforced with black people that you have to be acting black. When again, it's like acting black. What does that even mean? How can you act what you are? You are black. And I know this video may sound like I'm ranting, and I guess I kind of am, but and I'm not trying to. I know this YouTube channel usually tries to enforce positivity and to be better, but we do have to talk about the bad things too. Like, we can't just ignore them. They don't just go away. We don't just, you can't just look the other way at the bad things. They don't go away if you do that. They just sit there, and then they fester, and then it creates this, so it's one of these things where we got to be the people like us that are watching, that watch this YouTube channel. You subscribe to me, and you listen to what I say, and you actually care about what I have to say. And I know I find out a lot of you mostly agree with what I have to say. And I know this one might be a bit hot more take than the others, because there's a lot of people who really do believe in this shit. Like, you have to act a certain way to be your race, otherwise you're not falling in line. And I guess that's maybe why I don't care when people tell me that, because fuck you. Like, if you're a little bitch who falls in line, then to me you're just a little bitch. Why the hell would I even take what you have to say as any sort of smarts when you just told me you're not falling in line? That means you can't even think for yourself. Why the fuck would I even listen to what you have to say? Because it's not even what you have to say. That's what somebody else told you to say. Yeah, no, I don't. At that point, yeah, shut those people down and tell them they're little bitches. Because they're going to tell you that you're a bitch, or that you're a sellout, or they're gonna call you some sort of name. You know what I mean? That's what it really is. It's gonna try to enforce this negative label to you. Tell them they're a little bitch, because that's what they are. All right, and you don't gotta say that to hurt their feelings. Just tell them that as the truth. It's not to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you that as the truth. If you're gonna sit there and reinforce what somebody else says because you want to fall in line, that's a little bitch move. All right, falling in line. That's what gets you paraded in the street, being one of these political activists in the next 4 years. All right, that's what gets you wasting your life away on that bullshit. Again, one thing I want to hammer in this video is, it's all right to understand politics, but if you're watching this video, I know you're smart enough to know this, but I have to hammer it in for everybody to understand. Politics aren't real. They're just spectacle. It's all a spectacle. Do you really believe that Donald Trump and Joe Biden control this fucking country? All right, man. There's a lot more going on than just that. But that's what it is. It's a WWE big spectacle match for all you, or for all of us. I'm part of you, actually. I just don't pay attention to it. I pay attention to it, but you see, here's the deal. I don't actually let it affect my daily life. I hear about it. And not everything. I don't hear about everything. I only hear about the stuff that I actually want to hear about. And what I mean by that is, I don't just look up the news that I want to hear about and say, yeah, fuck those people. No. What I mean by that is, I only look at the important shit. I don't really care about the he said, she said, this person said the N-word or so. I don't got time for all of that bullshit. I do not. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. If I'm going to talk about anything political, it's got to be something important. Because first of all, for some odd reason, as the human race, as smart as we are, we tied all of our fucking important shit into politics. And that might be our undoing, as, again, many people tell you that your politics and your morals co-align, but that's not true. That's fucking retarded. Anyone that tells you that doesn't understand history, doesn't understand anything, because in reality, most people will sacrifice most of their morals to gain any sort of political gain. So, your morals and politics do not really align. You might think they do, and that's what you're told, but they really don't. Your morals are their own thing, because you have to stick by them. For instance, Spider-Man doesn't kill Green Goblin, no matter how many times he beats Green Goblin. But in politics-wise, Green Goblin would have been killed off. But Spider-Man's morals are he doesn't kill, so he just won't kill. No matter how many times Green Goblin comes back, tries to take over New York, he will not kill him. So, if you understand what I mean by that, if you get that metaphor, you understand that if this was a political thing, Green Goblin would be killed. So he would be dead. He would not, and he does die by his own hands. But you know what I mean? Like, so, but you get the picture. Like, many people will sacrifice morals and anything like that for any sort of political gain. It's just how it is. It really is. It's not a really hard concept to understand. Especially money. Money is another thing, and money and politics go hand in hand. So, but hence why they're both kind of worthless in the end, right? I mean, when will we learn that money can't be eaten? Money can't be drinking. So as we sit here and poison this planet, and as we got maybe, I would say, 20 years before shit really hits the fan and we start running out of resources and we've running out of land because we keep poisoning it and run out of food to grow, when will we learn that money can't be eaten? Money can't be drank. You can't do nothing with money. When shit's falling down, all money can do is sit there and look pretty. You know what I mean? When the house of cards is collapsing, what can money do? You know, when that's the thing. We gotta realize money is important, but money is not as important as we make it out to be, and it's gonna kill us in the end. It's gonna kill us all in the end. I mean, you look at Texas. Well, I know why Texas doesn't have a fully wise winterized grid, because they don't get too many bad winters. So they view it as, well, we can cut costs on our infrastructure to spend on da-da-da. All right, because you want more money. But guess what? I've been trying to tell this fucking country ever since Donald Trump ever took over, because our infrastructure under that motherfucker has been god-awful. Why do you think that there's so many fucking places that don't get clean water? It's called infrastructure, people. You fucking need it if you're gonna have a fucking nation. You can't just have a bunch of fucking money and then all of a sudden your infrastructure is so fucking weak that people can't even buy a fucking house. Like, again, it's something that riles me up, because you don't hear the left or the right talk about this, but yet they all care. But you see, this is why I say, like, people like us, we don't care about politics, because we realize that shit is stupid. Here's the real shit that we actually should care about: infrastructure. And it shouldn't even be political. It should just be a thing that we fucking do because we fucking need it. You need infrastructure. You need it because look what happens in Texas if you don't have good infrastructure. You don't have good infrastructure that can protect you from the weather. And you might think, well, nobody sees that coming. I can tell you myself, I would not be shocked if all of a sudden a winterized storm was to one day hit California one day. With how much this planet keeps fucking changing. I mean, hell, dude, we're in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, you know. Obviously, I never tell you guys the exact city I live in and blah, blah, shit like that. But I'm in Wisconsin, right? And our winter this year, and this is why I say, I really do believe we're going to get to a point, probably in the next 5 years, almost, I would say, even that early, where winters in Wisconsin might not be that long at all. Because we should have wintered 9 months of the year. That's how it works. But we didn't. We only had it maybe like 3 months of this year. Because it was warm in December. It was warm in November. But what's funny is people will be like, oh, that's normal. I was like, what are you talking about? Where are you from? You must not be from here, amigo. Because clearly and this is not even me gathering any scientific data. This is just me being a person who's walked outside before in his lifetime. I can tell you 10 years ago, and this is what I say, something as short as 10 years ago. And you might not think that's really short, but in the grand scheme of things, 10 years ain't shit. That's a decade. That's just the 2010s. So that's basically my high school. That's basically going back through late middle school to high school. That's really all it was. So I sit there and I think about it, and I go like, holy crap. Just from me walking outside from 10 years ago, I remember it would be pitch dark in October already. In October, it would be, you know, like at 5 o'clock, it gets dark around here where it looks like apocalypse is going on. Yeah, no, it would be like that in October. And then we'd get snow at the end of October. And then it would stick in like early November. And then we'd have snow by Christmas. I can't even remember the last time we had actual legit sticky snow by Christmas. Because it just doesn't happen. It might get like a light flurry that melts away like the next day. It just almost doesn't happen. But for the past like couple of years. And this year it didn't. We had like we had like maybe I don't even think there was that much snow really this year. I know there was some snowstorms, but I swear to God, there was like barely any. There was like barely any outside of like 1 week. I remember where like the whole sidewalk and like all the roads were covered, but that was like 1 week, and it was still particularly warm out that day. It was just snowing a shit ton. So, but that was also particularly weird. It was like 40 degrees, but like snowing. So it was crazy. But anyway, that's all off topic, but you get the picture, right? Like everybody in this society wants to make it out to be like we care and da da, but nobody actually cares about the core value issues that are actually going on. Everybody wants to make it about them. And that's what it is. That's why you see people care about the race issues and all that. Because everybody wants to make it about them. Everybody wants to be included in something and not be left out for whatever reason. Like I don't get it, guys. I don't. And we can talk about it. That's all we can do. And we can talk about it. But always if you're watching this video, I always strive for balance. Don't get swept into these fucking idiots on the left that will be like, you have to act a certain way to be your race. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you, I hear that more in my own race than I have ever heard a white person say it. Now, granted, I think a lot of white people think it. They probably don't say it because they don't want to sound racist. But I hear that. But I'm telling you, I don't care if you're black. That's the most racist thing you could possibly say to someone. I don't give a fuck if you're black. You're going to tell another black person that they have to act like a typical thug? Otherwise, they're not going to fucking be black? Nah, you're just as racist as the slave owners in the fucking 1800s. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're right up there. You're right up there. Because you're basically saying, again, and it makes me mad. It does make me mad. Because as a black man myself, it does make me mad. Because you're basically saying that black people can't be anything. Like, we can't be anything that society, like, views as larger than something. You know what I mean? We have to play the role of being this like typical thug or something. Like, what do you mean? Like, I hate that. And again, I've even been called that by like family members and schoolmates and work colleagues, and it doesn't end. You know what I mean? And I promise you, as you grow up, it won't end. You will be if you're like me, again. And I guess you don't act like the stereotypical, and I feel like it's even worse for black girls who aren't named like the typical Shaniqua, Shikawa, you know, some typical black girl name. I feel like it's even worse for them because if they act, you know, quote unquote non-black, it's even worse for them in my opinion because the black women is seen as a whole different stereotype compared to the black guy. So, but for their stereotype, it's even more enforced. Like, they're supposed, you know, they gotta be super loud and crazy and twerky and, you know, I don't know. There's gotta be so fucking something, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, if they're not that, then they're not a black girl. And it's like, that's even worse. You know what I mean? I feel like for them, it's even worse because it's also just based around their sexuality. Where no one's saying you can't be a gay black guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, you get the picture. You get the picture. I feel like if you're a black girl out there and you don't act black, you know, as they'll say, you don't act black. I feel like that can be much more harder to get through than being a guy, because as a guy, like, you can. Most people aren't going to say it, but another thing I want to get into is this whole idea that, again, like, if you don't act super threatening as well, then you're not acting black. And that's what I don't understand either. But that also is something, again, that I feel like is where it comes from, is I don't try to be threatening. Because first of all, I feel, here's a saying, ladies and gentlemen. Those who are threatening do not try to act threatening. That's just, I'm going to tell you that right now. And that's something you need to definitely learn in life. Those who are tough do not go about even saying it more often. And I'm not even saying I'm tough, but that's just something that you should just be aware of, is that somebody who actually is a threatening individual is not going to be out and puffing their chest. And they're definitely not going to be out picking around on the weakest people that they possibly can. because again, that's a coward. But it's kind of like where you see like these kids nowadays when they go out and record themselves on TikTok going out and, you know, harassing old people and stuff. You know what I mean? You know who they're doing that to, right? They're doing that to someone who probably still could probably beat some of these kids up. Honestly, like some of these, I'm just being honest, man. Kids today, I don't think they know how to fight at all. But I'm just kidding. But I'm just kidding. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I'm serious, man. I don't think most kids today can fight their way out of a paper bag. So because they're all so fucking weak and soft. But hey, man, that's a boomer take. I don't want to sound like that. That's a boomer take, but it is something I would honestly kind of stand by. I'm not so sure most kids today would be able to fight their way out of a paper bag, but that's neither here or there, because first of all, we shouldn't be encouraging our children to fight anyways. But we should definitely not be encouraging people to fight in general. Like I don't think that's a good healthy thing for society to want to cheer on, because I feel like again it always boils down to that in the end. But for me, again, it comes down to if you don't act really threatening as well, you know what I mean? And but that's the thing, is I'm not going to say that, like, but that's the thing, is like when I get angry though, like, and this is the thing though, people don't understand this, and this is why I say, like, we're complex beings. We're complex beings, and because of that, everybody's capable of being threatening when they want to be. And that's why I've found out in my line of work, again, because I'm like the black guy who acts white, you know, we're gonna talk in the mainstream society terms. A lot of people do not see me as the type of person that like can get just pissed off and become really, but see, and this is what I'm saying, I don't get threatening when I get pissed off, but people think that I'm scary when I'm pissed off, because I scream, I don't take shit, and I will yell back, and I don't care who you are. You know what? I don't take shit. I will not. I won't do it. And that's where I think, and that's where it's like, for me, this is why I could never really fit in when it came down to like the race stuff, because because I have that in me where I can really turn into a dog. I'm more like a I would say I'm more like a tiger. You know, I'm a tiger. I roar. I don't really roar in the jungle. I don't do that. I don't need to roar around like the lion. In fact, tigers are bigger than lions. You know what I mean? But the lion's the king of the jungle. He's always got to walk around like his shit don't stink. But but we're a tiger. I'm a tiger. You know, and most people, I feel like, you know, if you're a balanced individual, you're just trying to do your own shit. I'm like a tiger. You know what I mean? I'm tough, but I ain't trying to be fighting motherfuckers all day every day. I ain't trying to be being the dominant person in society. Fuck that shit. I ain't got time for all that. I want to do my own thing. So. And because of that, that's where it's like, I feel like I couldn't fit in with the black kids as much when it came down to just being there most of the time, because I'm too white for them. But I couldn't fit in with the white kids because I still have that dog in me where it's like, I don't take shit, and I don't act like a little bitch, you know. And that's something I don't want to preach. But you know, I've noticed that in a lot of like middle class white people. I've noticed that where it's like, if I get super pissed, they're not used to that. They're not used to someone snapping on them like that. They do not. They get scared and they do not like it. And I'm used to that though. Like I'm used to people snapping on me sometimes, like getting mad, and I mean getting mad, like and letting me know this is enough. Enough is enough. Like that kind of mad. Where, but over some dumb shit too though. Whereas, you know, I've noticed with a lot of middle class white people, and again, this is stereotyping, but it's just something I have noticed with the society that I've encountered where I live. There are very few middle class white people that I know that really can take that shit and not get like scared and just realize, okay, this person's just upset. We should probably just leave them alone. Like, but a lot, like, you know, for instance, my ex-girlfriend used to be the type of person that would get like super scared and skittish. And there was one time, and I was not even mad at her, but I was just mad about losing my keys. And I just was like, God fucking damn it! And I hit my bed because I could not lose my keys. I was gonna be late to work and blah blah blah. And that scared her because she's not used to that. So you know what I mean? Like that's something I've noticed. That's something I've noticed in a lot of middle class white people is they're not used to that, and so because of that, I couldn't fit with them either because I was the type of kid in school where I was getting mad at anything that the teacher would do that I felt disrespect me. I'd be like Michael Jordan. I took that personal. Hey, I don't care that you're the teacher. I took that personal. But again, it is something that I've noticed that would scare them away a lot too because they'd be like, well, he's still capable of acting black. Oh no, like acting black. But again, that's I feel like you're gonna see that in more people, and again, it's because people aren't used to seeing people who don't act in the common stereotypes because they've only seen the mainstream. They've only, and that's why you can't hate them for it. You must hate the sin, but not the sinner, as they say. I don't know who they is, but that's what they say. Um, but you can't hate the mainstream people for seeing what they've been told their whole lives is what reality is. So when they see you, who doesn't just confine to whatever fuck people tell you have to be and what to do and got to look the part and blah blah blah. So when they see you, they think you're the one who's out of line or something. When again, you can't fault them for thinking that. All you can do is just tell them what it is. And, if they want to call you a name, if they want to say you're a sellout, because I've never been called that because most black people know that I may not be fucking. I don't even get down with everything that black people say. You know what I mean? I'm a balanced person. I really don't because I don't see myself better than anyone else based on anything. Right? I don't even see myself better than anyone else, anyways. But there are some people that will see themselves being, and I'll tell you this as a black guy who's better on other black people, and you won't hear this. You won't hear this in the mainstream because it's not comfortable to talk about for some people. But it is the truth, and we got to talk about it. You'll see a lot of black people who act like their shit do not stink because they are black, and nothing else. Because they are black, they can be the most horrible fucking person on the planet, but because they are black, they think that their shit don't stink because they feel like they're owed something. There are people like that in society, and we do need to acknowledge those people. We need to stamp them out. We need to call them out on their bullshit because they're the type of people that will get mad at the white people in the past for acting like that, and any white person in the current day for acting like that. But they don't realize they're doing it their damn selves. So it's like, and again, we need to call out those type of people. We do. We as the balanced individuals of the world, we have to call them out. We have to call them out. Like we have to. But also we have to let them do that. And we have to realize that they're not going to change and just let them do them. We don't need to change them, but just call them out. Call them out because people don't like to be called out. No one likes to be called out. But you don't have to change them. We're not asking you to change. We're just calling you the fuck out. You know what I mean? So as we call you out, we ain't asking you to change. You don't got to like it either. If you don't like it, do something about it, and you won't. So shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, you can always just leave. And I guess quote unquote get canceled, but again, we have to call those people out. We have to, because those people again they're the people that like to rile everybody up and create this us versus them mentality, and we got to get rid of those people, especially in the black community, because I feel like they're the type of people that are really keeping us down in terms of like growing. And I guess the black community has grown, but you get what I mean, like. Those type of people do not help because all they do is they're the type of people that reinforce the stereotype, and then they want to teach the younger generation of black people to act the exact same way, and you expect shit to be better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Y'all say we got to stand together, but you don't even know what that means. Like, damn, man. Like, come on, man. And you got people that would call people sellouts for saying what I said. Man, you ain't no sellout, bro. You just speaking the fucking truth, and people don't like that. People want to hear that. People want to hear what they want to hear, and that's all. So if the truth happens to line up with what they want to hear, then they want to hear the truth. But if the truth happens to be saying something, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we criticize, for instance, you'll hear someone criticize white people for owning slaves, or taking the Native American land, but like, here's what I'll say. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. But then on the other side of history, that was pretty fucked up. there was like Native American tribes where they would eat babies and stuff. But you know what I mean? But hey, man, don't say that. Don't say that because that's not what the mainstream wants to hear. You know what I mean? No one wants to hear that. It's okay to criticize other races and stuff for what they did in the past, but don't criticize what you did in the past. You know what I mean? Like that. So that's why I say remain balanced. You must remain balanced because if you don't remain balanced, you will fall into that trap. You'll fall into the pitfall of thinking that because your race went through some sort of struggle that you are just better than everybody else, or that your race can do no wrong, and da 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 da. When it's like, no, everybody on this planet sucks. It was said by Jay-Z for a reason. All right, Jay-Z, I'm telling you, man, he's in the Illuminati. No, I'm just kidding. But like, obviously that was a joke. But no, seriously, I don't even really like Jay-Z. But that's just one of the best quotes I ever heard. Is everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. Everybody has a lot of flaws. Everybody has a lot of things that they need to get over themselves, and we do. As a society, we really do. But again, no one cares about that. There's no society. It's a bunch of people looking out for themselves who happen to live next to each other. All right, that's really all it is. So yeah, this video was kind of a bit all over the place today, but it was an important topic that I've been doing a lot of research on, and I couldn't think of a better way to return to than this, because I feel like this is, to me, it's an issue that I hate to talk about because it's something that, like, it's so negative. It's so negative because basically all I'm doing is bashing on motherfuckers. I'm bashing on the left, I'm bashing on the right, I'm bashing on black people, I'm bashing on white people, I'm bashing on Asians a little bit, but that's just because the certain Asian stereotype is you gotta be smart and da-da-da. You know, I'm bashing on fucking, and I don't even want to bash on, it's not, and you can't really bash on Asians, though, too much, because I don't really see them saying that to each other too often. I mean, I know that they want their kids to be super smart and shit. Like, that's what's commonly portrayed in TV, that the Asian dad is, like, super strict and makes his daughter, like, study all day, and she can't do nothing else but study all day, and then he makes his son study all day and do all the sports and get a good scholarship and da-da-da. Like, you know, like, that's what's seen on TV. But I can tell you, obviously, from firsthand life experience, that is, like, maybe a very small, minute portion of Asian people in this country that are actually like that and grew up exactly like that. Like, let's just be honest, that is just another form of stereotyping on how all people are. And I'm not saying because you see that in a TV show that that's bad and that shouldn't be portrayed, because there are people like that. Just as there are, but it's unhealthy to make the assumption that most Asians are like that, because there's a lot of Asians who grew up very normally in terms of, like, they got to party, they got to do a lot of things that quote unquote bad kids got to do, you know? So this is, there are Asian people who turn into gangsters. Just as there are black people who turn into fucking business owners and CEOs. Just as there are white people who turn into meth heads. Just as there, like, it does not matter. Like, we need to stop with this whole you're acting outside your race or something. Like, it's a topic that I really think needs to be shed some light on, because there's a lot of people who actually walk around believing in this shit and believing in it, and they really do, and they will, like, go up to people like myself and say, you don't act black, like, you know, and it's, or you don't even sound black. Like, what does that even mean? Black is a sound now? I didn't know that. Like, shit, I thought it was a color, and I thought that's really all it was. I didn't know being black comes with some sort of notions and all that, but it does. It really does. But that's what pisses me off about it is, again, other black people will tell you this to other black people and then complain about racism. You dumb fucks. Like, if you're a black person and you do that, and then you're gonna go complain about racism and shout Black Lives Matter, shut the fuck up. You're a fake woke bum. Probably a leftist who doesn't know anything, or you're a conservative who wants to appeal to everybody. I don't know, whatever your thing is. But again, those people, we need to weed them out, because they're the people that are causing the problems. They create this us versus them narrative, and they really do. And same thing for, I got, obviously, you don't, I speak about it for the black community because I am black, but I'll also say it in general. Like, if you're a white guy and you see a white guy say like pulling his pants down and saying he's acting like, you know, he's fitting in with the black people because he's acting black. Tell him no. What does that even mean? You're acting, you know, you're just acting like a gangster. That's all you're doing. And same thing. If you see another Asian person tell an Asian person, I guess, who doesn't have like the highest IQ in the fucking planet that they're not Asian, they're not acting Asian, they're acting very white or something. Nah, if you're an Asian person, call that person out, because that's not helping. That just makes the fucking stereotype that much worse. And I guess for that, I'd rather just be seen as the smartest person in the world. But even then, people don't realize that can come with a lot of negative consequences for people who aren't the smartest people in the world. You know, it can make a lot of people think that they're not worthy of being whatever they are, because when you grow up in a society that's so mainstream like that, that doesn't encourage that you could be outside the norm, you could be outside the box. It really does make you become a very depressed individual, because now you're going to think something's wrong with you. And so again, we got to call these people out, these people that think if you don't act a certain way, you're not acting your race. Because again, you don't have to act your race, you are your race. Here's one last quote I'll leave you guys on for this video today. There's a Pokemon movie, and as I was doing research for this video, someone that I watch on YouTube played this clip, and it's from a Pokemon movie of all things. So it's kind of funny that like a Pokemon movie gets life better than most humans do. That's very ironic, actually. But in the movie, one of the characters says this: "The circumstances of your birth are very irrelevant. What matters is what you do with the gift of life. That is what determines who you are." Couldn't put it any better myself. Could not put that any better myself. Shout out to Pokemon. I don't know anyone that plays Pokemon. I don't really play Pokemon anymore, but you know, I thought that was a good quote. I think that is a very good quote, and that relates a lot to this video. Circumstances of your birth are very irrelevant. They really are. They don't really matter. It's what you're going to do in the here and now, in your lifetime. That's what's going to determine what you are and what people think about you. Because people will remember how you make them feel. They may not remember your race and all that stuff, but they will remember how you made them feel and what you do. This is something that's in video games a lot, like how in Elder Scrolls games, the main protagonist can be any of the other races. You don't have to just be a Nord just because you're in Skyrim. You don't have to be an Imperial just because you're in Cyrodiil or something. You can be any of the other races, but when the games, like for instance in Skyrim, when they talk about the player character from Oblivion, nobody says the player character from Oblivion was this race and blah, blah, blah. The only thing that's implied with the character from Oblivion is what you did and what your character made people feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're called the hero of Kvatch for a reason, not the Argonian hero of Kvatch or Black Man hero of Kvatch. You're not called that. You're just called the hero of Kvatch in the lore. Because your character could have been any of the races, but that wasn't important to the people of Tamriel. What was important was that you saved the world. That's all that really mattered. And the details of who you were became very irrelevant, or like who you were, like in terms of like, you know, identification, like male, female, all that stuff. All that stuff was very irrelevant in terms of the overall story of the game. So they only keep your actions. And so again, always remember that. I think that is a great great quote to leave on, because again, I think it's a very, very important issue, and I think people definitely could talk about it more. I really do. I think people need to learn about it, and I really encourage it, if you're Black, to look up this kind of stuff, because you're more than likely going to hear this if you're Black. You're not really going to hear this if you're a white guy acting like a typical gangster, because it's just not going to be said as much. But if you're a Black guy who doesn't fit the social stereotype of the Black guy, the token Black guy, basically, who's just talks in slang all the time and swears and says the N-word all day and just doesn't fucking, I guess, have a, like, complex personality, is just a one-note individual who acts like a thug, I guess. You know what I mean? Then yeah, cool. If you don't act like that, then you're gonna be told you don't act black. But again, or if you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Like you are gonna hear it. And again, that's not me telling you to vote at all. I don't confuse that message. I don't think you should vote. I'm gonna be honest with that. But that's a topic for a different day. That is a topic. That's going to be our next topic. But I'm going to have a guest. I'm actually going to have a guest for that next topic. We are going to be teaming up with a certain other YouTuber who you guys know of, and we're going to be talking about that because we have very, very similar opinions, and I really wanted to meet with him. You guys probably already know who it is, but we are not. Expect that video probably next week because the collab has already begun. We're already filming it, and like I said, if it's a different video, but I will leave you on that. I don't think you should vote. I don't think you should do anything of that sort, especially if you're a minority at all in this country. I'll say this: if you're a black or a white person, you definitely shouldn't vote. Those are the two main demographics who, if they didn't vote, could change everything. But that's a topic for a whole nother day. Anyway, leave a like on the video if you like it. Obviously, if you don't like it, just dislike it, and then tell me how much I suck in the comment section, and how wrong I am, and how if you want to be black, you gotta act this way, and da 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 da. And waste about 10 hours of your life typing an angry comment at me and da 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 da. And then after you do that, shout me out on Twitter. Tell everybody to cancel me, okay? But we all know that's what's just going to happen is obviously I'm just going to get more popular. I'm going to get a lot of exposure, and that will be great. Please do that. I need to get canceled, guys. It needs to happen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just referring to a comment somebody left on my video one time about how I should get canceled and da da da. It was kind of funny. I do like to. You guys don't think I read the comments, but I do read them. I do read them. So, but I don't get why people want to cancel me though. Like I don't even have like enough clout to reach all of my city. Like so, but like whatever. It is the way it is. But again, leave a like on the video, share, like, subscribe if you want to for more content like this. Again, this will not be the normal content, and usually I won't make videos this long. I do not want to make hour-long videos. But there was a lot to talk about with this issue. But yes, and to answer questions that I've been getting about Dragon Ball videos and Elder Scrolls videos and Fallout videos, I will be doing those still. I just have to think about like what content I want to do with those. Because right now, especially with Fallout, I fell out of Fallout, I guess you could say right now, because I've played it so much in the past 3 months that I'm in that mode where I can't really play the game anymore. Otherwise, I'm gonna get like I'm just so out of the game. Anyway, though, that's where we're gonna end this video today. I hopefully will see you guys tomorrow with the next video on Elder Scrolls. We're going to do another Elder Scrolls Oblivion tutorial on skills, particularly the most useless skills. Anyway, you guys, I hope you're having a snazzy day, and share the video for a free crate of bananas.